So a few people have asked how I do my class ratings, and I'm going to give an example of a class rating that uses the average of the last 3 races so that we can kind of get a bit of an idea on how to work it out. And from there, you can go and construct these based on 5 races, 10 races. You can start to do adjustments based on field strength and field size and the going and things like that. But let's jump in and take a look. So I have set up a race which I'm going to look at today, which is Caulfield Race 1 at 12:15 today. It's a 2,400 meter handicap. We've got 5 horses, so it's a nice, easy way of doing it. The race runs in about 30 minutes, so it gives us a bit of time to work through the selections before the race. Now, what you will need to do is find some place where you can get some form. I'm just using Racing and Sports here because it was a bit easier as a place to find the actual form. And I've just zoomed in there so you can see what I'm going to be looking at. So just looking at the spreadsheet, I've set it up mainly so it's easy to view on the screen. You just normally put these columns for field size and prize money across the end and just have a class rating. But it's a little bit easier just to show. So what we're looking for here is the finishing position, the field size, and the prize money of the race. And we're going to do this for race 1, race 2, and race 3 going backwards. So let's jump in and have a look at Banker's Choice. So I've brought up Banker's Choice here. If we look here, the prize money for the race, not the prize money that was won, you can see it won 31,500, but the prize money for the race was 175,750 right there. So we're going to come back to our spreadsheet and put prize money 175,750, and if we go back and have a look, it came 2 out of 9. So we add those in. So finishing position was 2, field size was 9. Now we do that for the second race again. So we come back down one more race. You can see it raced in 150,000 and it came 4th of 10. So again, we put in the 150 and it came 4th of 10. Now I'll do race 3. Again, it raced in 150,000 and came 6th of 14. So we put 150,000 and we put 614. Now we jump to mostly cloudy. I'll do it one more before I pause the video and move ahead. So mostly cloudy again, it ran in 100,000 and came 4 of 7. So we come in and put the 100,000 in and it came 4th of 7 horses. And if we look at race 2, it was a barrier trial. Race 3 here was a barrier trial. We're going to skip the barrier trials. So we're going back to these ones back here. So it ran in a $8.5 million race and it came 18 of 23. So let's put 8.56 million. So 8.56 million. Did I get that right? Yep. And it came 18 of 23. Yes, 18 of 23. And again, it ran here in a 505,325. I'm going to put that in first. 505,325. And it came 12 of 13. 12 of 13. Okay, I'm just going to pause the video here and then I'm going to come back and we'll have all this filled out. And we are back with all of the numbers filled in. So we now have the finishing position, the field size, and the prize money for every single race. So what we want to do is now calculate the class rating. So it's fairly simple. What we want to do is basically give everyone that run in a particular race a portion of the prize money. So there was 11 runners. We want to divide 200,000 by 11. If we're looking here, 150,000 divided by 10 and 150,000 divided by 6. Now, you can get a little bit fancy with this and actually put different percentages for first, second, third. So you could weight first as maybe 30% of the overall number and then split the difference over the rest, or give it 50% and split the 50% over the other runners. It just depends on what you want to do. I'm going to go with a simple class rating here. How you decide to modify it and work with it, there are multiple variations of this, and they can all be quite profitable and will give you a different angle that someone else is not using. So this would be your own class ratings. No one else has these class ratings, and therefore it's a completely different way of looking at the same form. So basically for each horse, we want to know the prize money. So I'm taking the prize money and dividing it by the number of horses which were in the race. So for instance, this one had 9 and it was 175. It turns out to be about 20,000 per horse. And we're going to then we're going to times that by how many horses this one beat. So it will be the field size minus the finishing position. All right, so it will essentially give us a number there, and for this one, Banker's Choice has got a rating of 136,694. So we're basically saying that's the class number for that race that this horse achieved. Now, I'm just going to move this over. We want to do that for all 3 races. So if I go and do that again, you'll see here it's the 150, there were 10 horses in there, and it finished 4th. So we've got 150 divided by 10, and then we times that by the 10 minus the 4, so times 6 essentially. And that will give us a 90,000. So this will give us 3 different class ratings because we've got 3 races. Now you can do 5 races, you can do 10 races, you can do whatever number you want to put in there. Now to calculate this for all of these in this spreadsheet, obviously fairly simple. So now we have a class rating for every single horse. Now to make this nice and easy to read, I'm just going to put these over here and just move this over a little bit. And what I'm going to do is just average the class rating. So we got 3 values, so it's just going to be average. It's just going to be the average of those 3. And now we have a simple rating. Now you can sort this. If we do have a look at this and we're looking for the one that's on top, we've got a 53 and 84,000. There's 138,000 there, a 647,000 there, and 104,000 there. So right now, mostly cloudy, because of the 2 races that it was in here that were 8.56 and 500,000, has a class rating that is 6 times, almost 6 times or 5 times the next highest one, which was number 3. So ranking these, we're looking at number 2 being highest, 3 coming second, number 1 being the 3rd highest, then number 5 and number 6. So from that point, you kind of want to go have a look at the selections and the prices that are in the market. Just reload that market. And if we have a look here, just going to bring this back so we can see it all together. Mostly Cloudy is the favourite here. Now, we had second choice as Lidon Devi. It's at 570, so it is not second in the market, which means there may be a little bit of value there. So based on the class ratings we have, we had this as the second best chance, and number one was our third best chance, followed by 5 and 6. So 6 obviously has come out as the worst here. And if you were going to look for things to lay, you're kind of looking for things that either are mismatched completely or match up perfectly. So in this case, 6 matches up as the worst one. It's probably worth a lay at that $11. Given its class rating is 1/10 of the favourite, and is half of even the third favourite. Now, how you use the class ratings to actually make selections is kind of the art form where you decide whether it does make sense or it doesn't make sense for this. So you may have had a look at this and gone, okay, Mostly Cloudy is favourite, but if you took these two out, what did he actually get for race one? So he only had a rating of 42,000, which is lower than even what Spaycaster had for its averaged class ratings. So is Mostly Cloudy actually a false favourite here, even though the class ratings suggest it is or should be favourite? In this case, this is where one of those nuances comes in. You've kind of got to use a bit of thought. This is where if you had weighted first, second, third differently, considering this horse had come 7th, 23rd, or 18 out of 23 and 12 out of 13. It's been at the back of the field in the ones it went up to. It hasn't performed, so should we be even counting these? 4 out of 7 you'd probably count as it's performed okay. Similar to these, 7 out of 10, it didn't do very good. 5 out of 6, this one didn't do very good there. So its rating may be more around this 6 out of 11 when it performs. So we're looking at about 90,000 maybe for Spaycaster. So maybe it's not the lay. But this is where you have a bit of a look at how the class ratings have been put together, what numbers are impacting it the most, and obviously there are ways to code this and come up with a better way of weighting it. So you can look at weighting it by the going and how they've performed in the actual going before. You can eliminate races and say, no, I'm not from 5th on, I'm only giving them a certain number, and it's going to be 1/10 of the actual prize money. You can take prize money out that is beyond a particular percentage that everyone has raced. So if we looked here, you can see everyone was racing in about the 150 to 200,000 races, prize money races. So you've got a 500,000, an 8.5 million, and a 751,000 here. So what happens if you take those three out? So if we did that and took out the 2 for Mostly Cloudy and we took out the 1 for Lidon Devi, we now get a new set of class ratings. And if we have a look, Mostly Cloudy has not got a good rating at all. So it could be a false favourite here, given that we've only got one. Now we could go fill in the other races by looking at the 4th and 5th race that goes back until we find 3 that fill this in. But for the example here, I'm just going to do the average, which is just that value. And now when you have a look at it this way, you're essentially looking at Banker's Choice, being the horse that has performed the best. So it all depends on how you decide to create these ratings, and I would suggest you shouldn't have one set of ratings like this. So here's a class rating with the average of 3. You should have a class rating with the average with the 3 closest distance in its last 10 races. On the same going, you could do it on the last 5, the last 10. You could do it on the 3 that are closest in prize money that it's raced in its last 10 races. You can do the last 3 where it's actually been within 2 lengths or 3 lengths of the winner. There's multiple variations of this that are much better. And then when you have all of these ratings and you bring them together, that's when you're actually getting a little bit more powerful in a class rating that actually works. So if you had 10, 15, 20 different variations of this, you're going to start to settle on a number, or it's going to move towards a number due to essentially the wisdom of the crowd in the ratings that you're using. Even though they're coming off similar numbers underneath, they're picking different aspects of it. You're going to come to a more realistic and actual class rating that will match the predicted chance of this horse. So it really does require a lot of coding. You can't really do this without coding, hence that is why I put up the selections that I have. It does take a long time to go through and calculate the class ratings by hand in spreadsheets, just like I did here. You're probably looking at, if you were to do this by going distance, prize money, and whether they were in the last 3 lengths, you're probably looking at about 30 to 40 minutes per race. So you could do a meeting, but you're not going to get through all the meetings. But if there's a particular race that you're looking at, this is a great way to do it. And it'll give you some good numbers. So hopefully that explains how the class ratings work and has given you some ideas on what to do. And from there, just go experiment and see what you can do. If you've got some thoughts on this or you wanted to ask some questions, please add a comment. Comments are always good for engagement, and I'm always happy to respond as soon as I see it. I do like to help others and try to give them a bit of an edge for those that actually do take the time to want to learn something that works. So throw a comment in if you're interested in asking a question. Do like the video and subscribe if you haven't. And I'm going to leave it there, and hopefully this was a valuable insight into how the class ratings work. Thanks for watching.